Dear ladies, gentlemen, good morning. I wish you a very warm welcome for our today's Swiss Management Forum of HSD, of the Chamber of Commerce, Czech Republic, Switzerland. And I'm very grateful that you made your time and the way here to be with us today. The Swiss Management Forum is an event of our Chamber of Commerce which we are organizing every year now for about 8 years now, and which is an event where we focus on topics that are relevant in Switzerland and also relevant for the Czech Republic. Topics that may be perhaps a little bit more in a more advanced, to use the word, in Switzerland than in the Czech Republic, and where we're trying to explore some synergies between the two countries and the development in this area. Today's topic is, as you all know, the drivers of technological progress, interaction between education and business, which is one of the most important topics today in both politics and business. How to interact between education, between universities and places of education and the business. How can politics influence this system? How can we all profit from these developments? How to create new products? How to finance these developments? How to gain the right people for this? So this is a topic where everybody on the business, on the university level, and also on the political side is focusing on. And I'm very happy that also our partners supported us, namely the company Sika, and then also the partners ABB, Alpic, and Siemens, as well as the Czech Managerial Association, Jura, Novartis, Penshop, and Positive. There we have among our partners some of the companies which have a significant spending on research and development among their budget. And will be very interesting to hear from these experiences. What will happen today? After these opening speeches, and I will also turn the floor to my colleague Jiří Jirkovský to give you some further information. We will have 2 keynote speeches, which will then be put live on a stream in the internet and will be transmitted in universities. And during that time, that means exactly for the length of the keynote speeches, there will be a coffee break, where immediately after we start the panel discussion. After the discussion, the conference will terminate with a buffet lunch that will be served here in the hotel. I have to sadly admit that we are a bit victim of the flu and of the second wave of the flu that is raging in the Czech Republic, as you may all noticed, and that Mr. Stepanek and Mr. Pališka Mr. Stepanek from the Brno University of Technology and Mr. Stepanek Mr. Pališka from Siemens are both ill and cannot attend. So also absent is Mr. Steffel from the Chamber of Commerce, his keynote speech will be taken over by Mr. Martin Fröhlich, and Mrs. Kaří Novář, a professor at the University in Wädenswil in Switzerland, will take place of Mr. Stepanek. So that's so much for the logistics. If you have any further information or questions, please don't hesitate to ask us. I will turn the floor over to my colleague Jiří Jirkovský for further introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning from my side. I'm very pleased to have you here directly sitting in the room and indirectly watching the transmission from this conference. As was already mentioned, this is a 9th round organized by the Swiss Chamber of Commerce. It is a follow-up of the previous one 2 years ago, which event was focused on education. When we were elaborating about which topic might be interesting for you, we decided let's go on in the topic of education, which is a very crucial one not only in this country, but overall in Europe. Having a look on the limited resources, especially in the technical know-how, this is really an issue we have to work on. And this is the contribution from the Swiss Chamber of Commerce on this topic. When we were looking just on the situation in Czech Republic to be concrete on the spendings which are running into the R&D, in the combination of spendings in the governmental sphere, in the private universities, the Czech Republic is spending some 0.7% of the GDP on R&D, which is below the 1% which is expected by the Lisbon strategy. And of course, there is a lot of initiatives coming from the governmental sphere, private sphere, to spend more on education, on R&D, combining the contribution from the governmental and private sphere. The Deputy Prime Minister Bělohrádek has succeeded to receive the budget for R&D for this year on the amount of 26.9 billion Czech crowns, which is 1.2 billion more than in the past year. And it seems that will be continuation. The government is ready, after the analysis of the research centers, to release another 600 million Czech crowns in the spendings. So we have to come up to the level which is requested. And the situation in Switzerland, even so, is better. They are following the same path to support R&D, transferring the contribution from the universities, from this part to the concrete business. We will have the time to have the insight about how this topic is elaborated in Czech Republic and in Switzerland, having in mind that among the three biggest companies spending on the R&D, two of them are Swiss, Novartis. And fortunately, we will have in the afternoon session the possibility to have the experience and contribution from Novartis directly here on floor. Roche as well. So we will not discuss it only from the governmental or administrative point of view, but we will come up down to the concrete experiences and examples from the business sphere. Now, I will then bring you through this whole day, and let me invite to the floor for as a first keynote speaker, Mr. Martin Frelich. This is from the Czech Chamber of Commerce. He's a director of the Department of Projects and Education. So please, floor is yours, and we are eager to have your contribution here.
So good morning, and thank you for giving me the floor. Your Excellencies, Mr. Chancellor, dear President of Swiss Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Procházka, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is the privilege for me personally and for the Czech Chamber of Commerce to be here and address you my short speech. Allow me to honestly thank you for the opportunity to speak at the conference. First, I would like to apologize Mr. Michal Štefl, the Vice President of the Czech Chamber of Commerce, who had originally to come here and had to have a keynote speech on the interaction between education and business. Mr. Štefl apologized his participation here. He is at the meeting with the Prime Minister of the Czech Republic outside of Prague and wished huge discussion and successful conference to all of you. Czech Chamber of Commerce helps entrepreneurs more than 23 years and is a partner for Czech government, for Czech regions and municipalities as well. Dear guests, allow me to open this significant conference with my short speech on the topic of the forum, which Czech Chamber of Commerce perceive as very timely, very necessary, and unfortunately still not enough solved in the Czech Republic. How to combine the results of the educational system, research and development with the business. How to ensure that the companies capitalize on the potential of education, research and development institutions, often funded by public money. I do believe that today's discussion will find most of answers not only on my questions. Ladies and gentlemen, answers on the questions have been looked for governmental, academic, business, and non-governmental sector in recent years. And still they do it. The Czech Chamber of Commerce looks for the answers as well. We have the ambitions to become a strong bridge between the business sector and the government sector for structural funds 2014-2020 in this issue. We have the ambitions to support the transfer of research and development results to entrepreneurs and vice versa, to support entrepreneurs using and capitalizing of research and development results. Our position is unique. We offer a wide network of contacts of the SMEs and entrepreneurs who do not have enough capacity to invest in innovations and research. They just may be in the near future the partners for educational institutions. Honorable guests, I know that in autumn this year it will take place the conference on the topic of the EU funds. We would be very pleased if the Czech Chamber of Commerce will have an opportunity to present our opinion and experience at the conference. I wish you fruitful discussion today and thank you again to be here on behalf of Michal Štefl, our Vice President. Thank you very much for your attention.
So, dear guests, coming from this governmental area to concrete business, I would like to open the second keynote speech. We have the honor and pleasure have Ms. Iliana Nicolai, the area manager for Eastern Europe of the company Sika. As you might right here, we are buying the Swiss quality. So now I am introducing the Swiss quality producer representative here. We will have not only her presentation, that will be followed by Mr. Petr Dvorsky, who will introduce a concrete example as a product engineer by Sika, how this interlink between education, R&D, and the business is running. Welcome, and please, this is yours.
Good morning, dear members of the Swiss Czech Chamber of Commerce. I'm very pleased to be here today on behalf of the Swiss group Sika. Thank you for giving me the chance to show you some of our accomplishments and to tell you something about how we see fit to prepare our own future. Because I think, and we all believe in Sika, that it is our responsibility to invest in the future, and this means collaboration, strong collaboration and close collaboration with universities and with students all over the world. But before I do this, please allow me to tell you a little bit about our company. This company is 100 years old, more than 100 years old, and its success and reputation is based on its long-lasting tradition of innovation. The core of the business is innovation management for us. We are really keen in consistently developing new products which are applied for bonding, sealing, reinforcing, strengthening, and protecting in defined target markets. And not only this, but by investing in many technology centers all over the world, laboratories across the globe, the company profits from its worldwide network of partners, suppliers, and scientists, while fulfilling this promise we made to our customers to be close to them everywhere in the world. We are thinking a lot about our customers' success when we are developing our products and our systems. And as you can see, our logo is called Building Trust. This is not an empty word. Our aim is to meet the challenges of our customers because we are facing everyday problems like the environmental issues, regulations, especially in our field of activity with the chemical products. Sometimes you might see the products we supply. One of our managers used to say that these products are like the salt and pepper in the kitchen. You use only tiny amount of it, but if you don't use the right amount, everything is spoiled. So this is the case with our systems and our products, and probably you might not know, but in our daily life, we have always around us the Sika products. In our buildings, on the streets, in the cars, wherever you look, something can be bonded or reinforced or sealed with a Sika product. We focus on 7 target markets, and if you allow me, very short, I will tell you only one sentence about each of it. In concrete, Sika develops and markets numerous admixtures for additives to use in concrete, cement, and mortar production, and these products enhance specific properties of the fresh or hard concrete, such as workability, watertightness, durability, or early final strength. This might be strange language to you, so I don't want to go in more details about this, but when an entire valley can rely on the strength of a concrete dam, this means for us building trust. In waterproofing, the Sika solutions cover the full range of technologies used for below-ground waterproofing, flexible membranes, liquid membranes, mortars, and so on. And then we can say that when the tunnels stay watertight for good, this means for us building trust. In refurbishment, and especially here in Central and Eastern Europe, in the last years it was felt the need to build in a manner that it's easy for the customers and the final solution will last. When thousands of people can trust reliable maintenance over a bridge or a very important building, for us it means building trust. Sealing and bonding, joints, a wide range portfolio includes top-class elastic sealing and bonding solutions to meet all job site needs, from the bathroom to the highway. When these joints can handle any amount of water and protect us, for us, it's building trust. In flooring, our systems are based on synthetic resins cementitious system for industrial and commercial buildings. For example, pharmaceutical, because we just heard here a nice example, and food sector, production plants, public buildings such as educational and health care facilities or parking decks. And when these floors perform as effective as our staff, for us this means building trust. Also in roofing, Sika provides a full range of single-ply and built-in flat roofs system incorporating both flexible sheets and liquid-applied membranes. Demand in this segment is driven by the need for eco-friendly systems, energy-saving solutions such as green roofs, cool roofs, solar roofs, which simultaneously help to reduce CO2 emissions. And then, when these roofing systems make new way of living possible, for us, this is building trust. And also in industry sector, when adhesives make cars lighter and safer, for us, this means building trust. Therefore, I want not bother you more with these very technical issues. I just want to tell you that we are growing worldwide. We like to invest wherever we go in the world, in emerging markets, in established markets. Only last year, we opened more than 7 factories all over the world. We opened a lot of subsidiaries, mainly in countries which are not developed yet. Of course, we invest there, and we like to say that we have roots in all the countries we are present. I will not bother you with the figures. This you can find in any official website. But what I like to say is that not 100 years making our job very well, but the first product Kaspar Winkler, our founder, invented is still in use today. We have 84 awards because we like to innovate. We calculated that we managed to save with our products 25,000 million liters of water, which I believe it will be soon enough very important. Every year we supply enough room membranes to cover the whole Manhattan, and so on. But the topic for today is something else. How we in Sika try to prepare, as I said, our future. And not only, of course, all inventions and all innovations are made with help of some establishments which are in this field of learning. We do that at corporate level, in many fields like executive development, with objective to establish a sustainable development of our senior management, and it's mainly in fields of leadership and business development. So we offer each senior manager in Sika with our partner EMD from Lausanne to attend the program every second year. This school was chosen because we like to have a partner which is ranked top 10 in the world. The talent development programs with support of university have the objectives to get the next generation of Sika managers ready and prepared to take over whenever is necessary. So we offer 10-day trainings for most talented people within SICA organization, and we cooperate with EMD, University of Fribourg, and these courses have themes like change management, strategic management, project management, leadership, and team development. Internships and master's theses with universities, with the objective to work with students and faculties on actual topics which are relevant for SICA. These topics are tailored, offered for individual candidates and faculties. So depending on actual needs for different departments involved, R&D, marketing, international communication, and human resources. And here we cooperate with EMD, Fribourg University, ETH Zurich, and University of St. Gallen. Also, we involve the university with global graduate programs with objective to get outstanding graduates in technical field and business administration. And we believe human resources are one of our more valuable assets in the company. This is why we try to attract the most valuable people. Also, the program is tailored to the individual candidates, and a lot of universities from Switzerland are participating in the program. Now, I would like only to give you 3 examples from some projects we have locally in 3 of the countries which I am responsible for. And in the end, you will hear probably more important and more interesting information about what we are doing here in your beautiful country with universities. In Poland, the collaboration with university is very close. The Warsaw University of Technology is planning to establish an official course for students at the civil engineering department about improving the durability of engineered structures, and this will be a subject of cooperation for the next 2 years. Also, we have a lot of master theses and baccalaureate theses for engineers, and these students who graduate work with our specialists together in order to prepare this thesis. We cooperate ongoing in a scientific circle, students' publications, and so on, which are ongoing projects. With the University of Krakow, we have a project which is actually a research project, the research of flexible joints technology based on flexible polyurethane. Polyurethane is one of our main products in SICA. It is applied for structural bonding. This means that we can, with these new technologies, repair almost any structure, and it can be applied very well in historical buildings where we do not want to alter the architecture or in any other structure which is needed. Oops. These solutions are already applied in real life. You can see here only 2 examples, and the measurements are made. Of course, they are very scientific and very technical, so I'm not going here in any details. It's not working. So, another beautiful project we have is in Russia. We established an inter-university competition among senior students of Specialized Institute of Higher Education. So we asked from each university 1 team consisting of 3 members to present a project of a bridge And the beauty of this bridge will be awarded, of course, with the 3 winners. The competition regulations specify exact parameters and don't allow students to use work which was prior done in other projects. So we have sent letters. We received about 158 applications, participations from 52 different Russian cities, 46 universities worked, and we are now very close to evaluate these projects, and probably in the next 2 or 3 months we will have a winner. In Romania, the cooperation with the university is since many years. SICA is in Romania only 12 years old compared to other countries in Central Europe who have SICA subsidiaries now more than 20 years. But nevertheless, from the beginning, we have this cooperation, constantly presentations inside this university, talking with students and their teachers about modern construction solutions for all our applications. And some of the nice results we have, the Solar Decathlon Europe contest in Versailles, when we supported the students' team to participate in this contest. There are building houses where sustainable solutions are applied in real life. Then SICA Romania has an arrangement with the Romanian Associations of Young Artists to promote together SICA solutions in concrete, together with Lafarge, which was the main supporter of this project. The Young Roofers Worldwide Championship took place last year, and we supported here also the contest where we presented premium solution and sponsorship. So, from my side, I think this was all. I thank you very much for your interest. Hope you have a great conference and a great feedback from the students who are listening and viewing this conference. And now I'd like to hand over to my colleague Peter Dvorsky to tell you our nice projects in Czech Republic. Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I also have to thank you that I have a possibility to speak here. But first of all, I want to ask production to play a short video as an introduction.
SICA is a global leader in sealing, bonding, damping, refurbishment and protective systems in the building and automotive industry. Today we are in Modřice dry mortar plant, which is producing dry mortars and admixtures for Central European markets.
In our laboratory, we are developing and comparing concrete admixtures and cementitious mortars. Now you see that our mortars are not just cement and sand, but all these components are needed to get the mortar with best properties. My name is Petr Dvorsky and I'm working for SICA almost 3 years. But I have to say that my career started already in my university. I had the idea that I should improve myself not just in university, but I also should find some praxis that it will help me to improve myself and give me a lot of experience. So now we are sitting in the exhibition area of the concrete producer. So with SICA admixtures we can reach better properties of the concrete and also better appearance of the concrete products.
It's not easy to find the right people for development, but we are cooperating with universities and we really like to give a chance very good students.
I decided to write to SICA if there is a possibility to have an internship there. It was just a try, I didn't know what to expect, but a few days later I got positive answer that I should come for an interview.
When I was here on an internship, I was working with this mixer, carrying these 25 kilos heavy buckets full of aggregates. But nowadays I'm developing my own products.
You have to really start from the bottom to get somewhere. But working in SICA on the internship gave me also a lot of positives. When I was doing final exam, there were questions for me relatively easy because I was working with this topic almost every day.
In the year of his graduation, there was no possibility to offer him job. So after the discussion with my colleague from other countries, we organized his first job in SICA, Germany, in Leimen.
When I came there, I thought that I understand everything, so I was very self-thinking, but there I found out that I'm really nothing, that I don't understand nothing and I have to learn a lot.
We have to play a bit with the composition because it's too much liquid and it doesn't have the performance which we need.
After 1 year, I had a very nice call with my colleague from Germany, and he asked me, "Do you really like Peter Beck?" I said, "Yes, I like." And it was the best evaluation of I received.
If we are lucky and we have some simple product, first recipe can be okay, but sometimes it's work for months and you still cannot find the optimum composition.
I'm really happy that Peter is a member of my team, and I think that the decision when we offered him a job was really good for both sides, because today, after 3 years, we have very good chemists in our team with excellent results.
I have to recommend to all students to use every possibility what you have to improve yourself, to improve your skills, also before your studies finishes. It will be very useful in the future, you will see.
So first of all, I have to thank the production for such a nice video, and I think I should buy at least a big chocolate to my boss for such a nice words about me. So why I'm actually here? As you recognize, I'm not a typical person of high management. You see, business face, still same suit, used for all possibilities, all events, from ball to funeral. But I should be here something like a connection between students watching this later on online and between you, the top management, what I see here. So why me? Because it's not so far ago I was in this border between university and starting the real professional life. So I think it's still clearly in my head, and I think I should use the possibility to stay here, to stand here, and to tell you or tell students mainly my story. Maybe they will use it as a motivation for their own decisions. Yeah, so I think professional life started already in the university, as I mentioned in video. So it's not just about studying, but I think that everybody should try to focus on the topic which they like, and try to use programs, studying programs or international programs to improve that skills. For example, I know that in Czech universities, especially technical universities, there are a lot of possibilities to spend some year or somewhere in internship or just studying abroad. I personally use that, and it gives me a lot of positives and big advantage to future. It's not just about studying abroad, about learning language and new things. It's also about starting to work, start to communicate with different nations and see the difference and so on. It opens eyes a bit, let's say. So I don't think that the university offers you automatically the possibility to work somewhere or to study. You have to a bit ask for that. You have to search for the possibility, and I think everybody has the same position as me when I was there. So how I get to SICA, and this is also for you maybe interesting to hear. As I mentioned, or as it was mentioned before, SICA cooperated with Brno University of Technology already during my studies, so the name of SICA was well known around the students as a symbol of quality of good products and so on, and also the good development center in Czech Republic. So I had the idea to ask there for the internship, and there was no problem to start working there. As it was mentioned in the video, it was nothing easy, not that just I come there from university with all the knowledge and that I will sit on the chair and watching how the work is doing itself. So I had to really work hardly, but it has the result that our boss saw that I'm working hardly and I'm interested in this topic. Also, I was asking colleagues about different questions. Yeah, I was not working with that, so I was interested, and it was very nice from them that they answered me, and they really liked to talk about this topic. You know, it's difficult to talk with somebody about concrete. If you start to talk, all girls leave because it's boring at all. Some guys which stay are laughing to me that concrete is just a cement, water, and aggregate what I'm developing there all the time. But you see that for some guys it's also fun. So this internship in Czech was good for me also as a better part-time job, let's say, because I was improving myself, but it gave me also a lot of knowledge which I used later on when I was doing my diploma thesis. Yeah, I had possibility to see all standards in internet. I didn't need to search them very difficult, very hardly, and also final exam I was of course nervous, but there were questions I was really looking forward to hear them, to answer them, because I thought that I understand this topic. Studies finished, and I hoped I can stay in SICA. There was a possibility also in Czech, but there was an offer to go for an exchange program, let's say, to Germany, to SICA Leimen. One guy from Germany was leaving to India, and they needed somebody as a substitution for this 1 year. Thanks to corporate level of SICA and communication between management, they offered me this job, and I went there. Maybe as all young people, or many young people, I was also afraid that they will not accept me as a young guy in a relatively high management, also from Eastern Europe. Yeah. But I thought that my experience from lab will help me to broad the barriers. It was in the end totally opposite, because I came there and everything was totally new from me. The lab was 5 times bigger, much better equipment. Development was not just on local level, but on corporate level. It was a big difference. But what I was worried from the behavior of the German or management to me they were really nice to me and they helped me. They accept my opinions, and I'm really thankful to that. Sometimes it was funny because I couldn't speak at all German, so all these people on the meeting were Germans and they switched to English because of me. So they were sitting one doctor, second doctor, third doctor, me, another doctor. So I was a really small fish there, and they pointed their eyes when they started to speak in English to me, and they explained everything just to me. Yeah, so I was just sitting and saying yes, and it was also a funny chair. When I started to do this, I was moving on the body, so it was more visible. This 1 year gave me a lot because there is much bigger team, and it showed me also how the work looks in a bigger team when the job is separated in more positions and so on. When I came back to Czech, somebody can think that it's a step backwards, but it's something different. I cannot say that one bigger company is better than the smaller company. Now we are working in a small team, and it also gives a lot of advantage because I think I broke it. Oh. So in the smaller team, you have broad field of, I'd say, of application. Yeah. So there were even more things to learn. Yeah. So each step of the career, there is a lot of to learn. Until now, I'm now in Czech 2 years, and I'm still every day learning a lot. So that's also thanks to the small team. And finally, I have to also thanks or also describe that the team or the composition of the team is very important in the development. That, for example, some students can think or feel that they are not good at something, but I don't think so, or I see it also in our team, that everybody has his own role and everybody is good in something. And together it works as really excellent body, let's say. Yeah, so if you are not good, for example, in maths, you are good in speaking, yeah, for example. That's my opposite, yeah. Yeah, so that's also, I have to say all students again that they should not wait what will happen after the university, that nobody is waiting behind the gate for them. They should follow their vision, let's say, and they should help to improve themselves, and then there will be somebody waiting in front of the gate for them. So thank you for your attention.
So, dear guests watching and entertaining here directly in the room, dear guests who are watching this conference through the stream, I hope you have enjoyed these presentations in the first part of our meeting, which was closed now by this very lovely and live speech about how the interlink between education and business, concrete life could happen. I hope it will be appetizer for our students who are watching this transmission directly. This part will follow by the panel discussion. You might already see here the names of the participants in the afternoon, which will be then introduced. And of course, it will be questions prepared before this panel discussion. We will raise, and we will be glad to hear some questions here from the auditorium. And for the first time, that will be the possibility for the students and for the externals watching us by the stream to raise the questions. So you could place your questions online through your browsers, and the address is sli.do/sli.do, and the code is SMF 2015. So you could send your questions. Unfortunately, you can't see the address here. sli.y.do SMF 2015. You can send your questions. The questions will be incorporated in the panel discussions. You could then have directly the answers, and the topic will be discussed by our dear panelists, which will be introduced in a couple of minutes. Thank you very much for the first part, and let's open the second part for the panel discussion. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, dear online guests, now we have had a chance to conclude the first part of our session, the keynote speeches. I would like at this moment to thank all the keynote speakers, especially for the last very live introduction to the real life and the transmission between these two areas we are discussing today. Now let us move to the second part, which is a panel discussion. We have invited 6 very interesting panelists and she-panelists, which will introduce their view on the topic we are discussing today. There are, of course, questions prepared. I hope questions will be raised from the auditorium, and I would like to remind you there is still the chance to send, during the transmission, your questions to everyone in the panel on the address which is appearing now on the screen. So enjoy it, have a nice afternoon. And now I would like to hand over to Rudy Hoffman, the Czech guru, the Czech-Swiss guru, journalist working in Prague, working in Scandinavia for Neue Zürcher Zeitung. And I hope he will lead you successfully through this afternoon session. So enjoy it.
Thank you, and hello to everyone from my side, to the people in the auditorium and online. I would like to introduce the speakers in our panel discussion today, and I'll start to my immediate left, or from your perspective on the right, with Jana Vašičková. She represents the Technology and Machinery Group, ABB, where she leads the Human Resources Department in the Czech Republic. Her professional career includes work in finance, communication, and human resources, and she has been with ABB since 1993. And her career spans work in several parts of the world, including 5 years in the United Arab Emirates. Then next is Wojciech Petráček from the Czech Technical University in Prague. He has a background in particle and nuclear physics as well as surface physics. So a Spanish village to most of us. And he spent a substantial amount of time in nuclear physics in the Czech Republic and at the Academy of Sciences, and also in Germany at Heidelberg University. Currently he's vice rector responsible for the area of science, research and innovation at the Czech Technical University in Prague, and the leader of several experimental teams. Then we have Heidrun Iršik, country president in the Czech Republic of pharmaceutical company Novartis. She has been in the pharmaceutical business for a substantial amount of time, starting her career in the sales department of pharmaceutical company Ciba, and later proceeding through various fields, including management and marketing within Novartis. Then you have Martin Neumeister from Baumer, Czech Republic. Baumer is a Swiss-based company, but globally active company specializing in sensor technology. Martin Neumeister leads Baumer's Czech-based research and development center with a focus on software development and prototype testing. He has got a background in electric and electronic science, and has been in research and development, engineering and operational management for around 20 years with multinationals like Siemens or HP, but also other companies, and he has acquired special skills in setting up research and development centers. Next we have Karin Kovar from the Zürcher Hochschule für angewandte Wissenschaften, or Higher Education Institute for Applied Sciences. She works in life sciences and facility management in the Institute for Biotechnology. And last but not least is Zdeněk Bílek. He represents the Czech Managers Association, but since he is wearing two hats you might not see, he's also representing SICA, of which we had the substantial presentation before the break. So welcome to the panel, and I would like to kick off the discussion with an introductory statement from each of the panelists, and I would like to ask them if they could comment on their perspective on the evolution process from innovation in the mind of a scientist at the university, be it a student or a postgraduate or a professor, and then innovation working its way through the cycles into a business solution that will actually be on the market. And there's a long way to go in between. You have to develop a thought into a concept. You have to develop a concept into a business idea. You have to find the money for this business idea. And then you have to go to the market and have it tested by the market. So there's a long way to go. And I would like to ask each one of the panelists where in this whole long process, where there are problems prevailing now, from their perspective in their respective fields. So please, Jana Vašičková.
Thank you. Well, obviously coming from
maybe we should use a microphone.
Sorry for that. From the perspective, obviously, of HR, I would be commenting more in that arena, which is close to me and close to my heart, obviously. If we look at the cooperation which we are having with the different universities across the Czech Republic, obviously we are doing similar programs as SICA had presented earlier or had been speaking about earlier. So we definitely cooperate in the R&D arena as well, and mainly our factory and R&D center in Brno. We are cooperating with the Brno University. And the way how it's working, this cooperation is working, we are developing, let's say, new products or solutions, and then with that we go to the universities and ask them for support in their thesis. And then we use the results in the real life. So I think this cooperation is working well, and I think this is a smooth process. However, obviously, it is more the impulse is coming from us as a company rather than the universities.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So, at the university where I'm responsible for that part of business which really concerns exactly the question. That means the process of innovation, and process of commercialization, of evaluation and managing the intellectual property. We are trying to push forward all the ideas which come into the minds of our academics, of our students, of our PhD students. But of course, this is not an easy process. Life in academia is a little bit different than life in companies, and people sometimes even don't know that the idea which they invented is interesting, maybe business-wise, or something what has a potential for commercialization. So it's very important to educate them what could be important for business later on, and that they are not just about to publish, that sometimes it's very wise to make a patent or make something what brings the IP, intellectual property, into the proper folder in our portfolio. So we have a centralized division, which is technological transfer unit, which supports all these kinds of activities, prepares, develops the ideas which occur at our academic staff and students, and they prepare them for possible support. We have built in recent years a centralized system supporting evaluation and management of intellectual property, support of proof of concept projects, and we have also at this moment quite a lot of pre-seed activities running on more developed projects. And of course, when it comes to the successful end, we are trying to make as easy as possible the way how to establish the spin-off company, or we are trying to license our ideas or our, let's say, invention products to the other companies, and we are trying to cross this gap towards the product. Of course, as university, we are not as close to the product as the companies are. And all this is very evolving process, and we are learning how to do that. Academics and students are learning how to do that, and also companies who are coming and discussing with us are learning what it means to invent something at the university. So it's not easy, but we have to go forward in the direction.
Thank you.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, this morning we heard that Sika is 100 years old. The Novartis history spans 250 years. And during these centuries, we were always embedded in a triangle with 3 important cornerstones. One of them is education, second is innovation/technology, and third one is about business. And let me elaborate a little bit on education. What you probably don't know is that our company, and it's not just true for the Czech Republic, but also for other markets, has an overproportional high share of people with a scientific degree or any other degree. It's about 75% of our entire workforce. Secondly, we partner a lot with universities and other healthcare institutions. In the year 2013, we spent 150 million crowns for projects in alliance with the universities. And what we find here, especially in the Czech Republic, is good infrastructure and a high level of education amongst the people at the universities. We also established in 2012 a new IT hub in Prague, where we aspire to have 500 specialists with a background in computer industries. And again, we find a very good basis here in the country. Then we introduced a special program called Discovery for young scientists to encourage them to engage in such projects, and especially with a focus on technology. Now, coming back to your question, what's the problem, the issue we potentially find is that the mobility that I see and encounter here is not on a level we expect. I would like the students and also the people who are already working in our company that they have some international background, so in their learning years that they go abroad, but also later on they have the readiness to see other cultures, to see other backgrounds, which will help them during the long journey, and especially in pharma, it's a long journey. When we develop a new drug, it takes us 10 years minimum to get to the end. And there, I think people with a broad scope and horizon by having this international background would help a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dear all, funguje to? Jo. Dear all, as a representing R&D center in Czech Republic, which is a new branch of our mother company located in Swiss, I would like to focus on the topic which is really close to the relationship between university and companies, R&Ds, like we are. During setting up the R&Ds, we are facing let's say, two important points related to fresh graduates. First of all, I have to say that what we see in our company, in the new company, setting up activities in Czech Republic, we see a lack of engineers, fresh graduates, who are really usable, to say it, usable in our area. The second point is also the quality of fresh graduates. During the last 2 years, we ran a huge number of interviews with the candidates. And I would like to pick up that from this large number of fresh graduates, only 25% approximately, based on our record, has clear ability to show what they have learned and to use them in a practical world. And what I see also is their lack of communication skills to present what they have learned, what they are focusing on. I'm not saying now that I don't mean now communication skills on the level of professional business. I'm highlighting the communication skills to represent themselves and to sell themselves, that they are able, what they have studied, also to bring in the life. And the result, 25%, is really low. And considering also the lack of engineers on the market, we are coming to the really serious issue in the Czech Republic to have good engineers on board and to have good engineers for all R&Ds and industry companies who are now coming in or who are already in. In the media around in the last years, we can see quite often screaming for a praxis for fresh graduates or for the students at the university. This is not our case. We are not looking for graduates who has a praxis. We know how the praxis in the reality looks like. So what we are looking is really people who has the ability of practical thinking. This is different than the praxis. Practical thinking means they are able to bring their theoretical knowledges in the practical world. They are able to speak what they are doing. They are able to speak what they have learned. And what I see, before coming on this conference, I had some small research by myself, asking fresh graduates, asking people who are working in our company about their studium, what they see as strongest point, weakness point, and maybe we should think how to bring the companies into universities, not only at the bachelor stage and master stage, proposing to work on master thesis or bachelor thesis. Maybe it's too late. Maybe we should bring the industry sector into the universities earlier to show the students the practical usage, what they are learning. Sometimes happens that the students are haunting mathematical formula X for many years, and they don't know that the X in mathematical formula, it's the voltage drop when they push the green button on their mobile phone. Coming to electrotechnical world, they even don't know what is a Dolby system used worldwide. But they can count it. They can count what is the X. They can count the mathematical formula. So, I don't have no solution. This is now just thinking loudly. This is now to highlight the points, what we are seeing. We in the company, we were also having a brainstorming how to go on and what could be good for our students, proposing a couple solutions, but this will maybe come up later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karin Kovar, I am representing the ZHAW, which stands for the Zurich University of Applied Sciences. And I have the luxury to be after a lot of other speakers. And therefore I recognize in this panel that it's always you and we. And actually my authentic experience is at our university, professors are recruited from the industry. I have been working for a big pharma and now I am professor. I have a dream on an own company. I still didn't realize, but the 70% of my budget is coming from third-party money. And therefore, to develop further this dream, we developed with a lot of fun, friends and family, a concept of a new course, which is called New Business Opportunity in Biotechnology, where we are analyzing with the students new technologies with the perspective, is there a business behind? And as I said, the concept builds on friends. I have again the good chance to inspire some, I call this emeritus board, some freshly retired directors of big companies to coach and mentor my students. And we really developed some industry, academia projects from this course already. And the most important in this concept is that these students just are induced to think. They just would say no, that in biotechnology the X stays for biomass and then it's even on the U-axis. And the most important, they learn to communicate and have a dialogue with the other world, and they don't feel that there are two words with borders. And what we also motivate them, that maybe to creating a new own business is also a better alternative than a bad employment or unemployment. And therefore it's based on the motivation, interest, and somehow open-mindedness. Thank you.
So, thank you for possibility or opportunity to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. And you have seen presentation from SICA, but I am here as a representative of Czech Management Association as well. Therefore, I would like to add my ideas based on my experience as manager. And really, managers are part of this process from theory to praxis. And I realized that one, let's say, weakness from evaluation or utilization of results of research and development is understanding of this process from management point of view. Why I am so focused on this management point of view? Because really results in praxis are for us very important, not only for our company, also for
completely our economy. And what is behind this process? From my point of view, there are two important questions for each manager. Which advantage comes from innovation for my customer, for my company, and how many sources I have to have for realization of innovation, and what I have to change in my company in case I would like to go through innovation process. So these questions are important for me as manager, and from my understanding, I have to say that it is maybe small weakness, both sides, from theory, from institution, from universities, and from business, to understand all these aspects in reality. That's my opinion.
Thank you all the panelists for your introductory statements. There has been an interesting contradiction as we were moving through. Because once we heard that from the Novartis representative that they are very happy with their intellectual workforce they found, and the next speaker said, oh no, we're not getting the graduates we really want and we really need. So the question goes to the university sector. Are you producing the right graduates?
Well, this is a very important and interesting question. But if we look a few years, maybe 15, 20 years back, those times we used to have 15% of population with degree, roughly. Now we have roughly 60, which is a result of Bologna process. But I'm aware of the fact that the Gaussian curve of the intellectual properties of the population is still the same. So if you compare these numbers, so you can easily arrive to the conclusion that 25% really excellent people useful in companies is roughly the right percentage. Whatever we want to have with degree, this is one thing. Another thing is, what are their abilities? Of course, this is interconnected. We are, of course, trying to do as much as possible with the situation where the secondary schools are really failing in maths and physics and all these subjects which are extremely important in technical branches. And I think there we see the impact of the quality decrease at the input of the university every year. That must be something what will change in the future to avert this trend. And with these circumstances, of course, we are trying the most modern and advanced approaches to help our students to skip to jump across the gaps which are due to the different level of secondary schools, for example, in these technical subjects, and then we teach them as it is possible. Of course, the overall outcome is influenced by what I just mentioned. So this is a systematic problem of the whole system of education, not only just the university level.
Thank you. If I may ask the human resources expert, what is your ideal graduate coming to ABB?
Well, I think the ideal graduate coming to ABB is obviously somebody who is keen on joining the company, and obviously who is keen definitely to learn even further on and not to stay on the same level. And definitely somebody who is as well mobile as my colleague from Novartis mentioned. I think this is something very important, and we do not see that very often that our graduates would like to be going abroad. And I think that's let's say, exception when people would like to go abroad. I think the language skills are issue as well. We are obviously conducting some awards, some competitions, and last year we had run last round of ABB awards, university awards. So there had been winners of different categories, and obviously we wanted to engage with them, and we found out that only one was able to speak English. So which obviously in international environment is an issue. So I think for us this is as well something which we are looking at, and I think what we are looking for is somebody who is passionate and practical as well.
Okay, now this sounds like quite that you're requesting quite a broad but more common skill base.
Well, definitely, obviously, I'm not speaking from the technical point of view. I think my colleagues in the company would have a different view than I do.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm looking more at people from the soft skill set rather than the technical skill set. But definitely, my colleagues, it's not only me who is choosing the students, it's as well my technical colleagues who then look at the specialties. Obviously, we're working with the different faculties in the Czech Republic. We're working heavily with the Brno University and Prague University and University of Ostrava and Plzeň. So I think there are the faculties of electrotechnical. So we're looking at specific areas, definitely.
Okay, now if I may come back to Martin Neumaus's introductory statement. Is then the skill set you required in your introductory statement, is that too narrow, too specific?
Well, firstly, as a pure technical company and hiring technical guys, the social skills is something which is not fully in our scope. And that's, I will explain you, because the developers are sometimes really hard to go on well. They are sometimes complicated people who really don't care about the social correct behavior. But it's up to us. It's up to us on the management to motivate them to being a part of the team. We have an excellent team, also with a couple of associates, and we are working very good. I have to also highlight that our best employee in development department, in innovative centers, are usually not the best students. The best employees are the guys who really like to play with the technique, with electronic. Usually they build something at home, or they are members of some clubs. And these guys are really doing fast progress in our companies. And this is what I also wanted to highlight during my first speech, that technical schools, of course, I fully agree that the mathematical and physical apparatus is a mandatory without any discussion. But these practical guys who are coming to us, and they are also able to communicate. They are also able to communicate what they are doing. They are able to communicate their thinking and their ideas. We have really bad experience with PhDs guys. Maybe it's only by chance, but these guys spend too long time in academic world. Maybe universities, they keep their best PhDs for themselves, who are not really practical, meaning practical thinking. So, coming back to the profile of graduate, what we like, it's really people who like to play with electronic. Now in Brno, I really welcome activity of Vida Park, which is something which maybe will attract young people to come in the technical sector. and to present technical sector as an attractive part of the world. So the profile of this person is really someone who really like to play with the technique.
Okay, well, this brings us to the next question, and I'd like to hear the opinions of the business representatives as well as the education representatives. So who is it who should bring the students to specialization and specific skills? Is it the education sector, or should the graduates come from the education sector with a broad skill base that enables them to adapt quickly within a company to a specific role, but it will be the company that gives them their education? Maybe we'll start with the universities.
So my opinion is that university has, of course, broader role than just to prepare a very specialized, very specific student which just go to the company and he fits there like a wheel, exactly. And of course, there is a very important role in let's say, broader knowledge which is gained by student, and also in methods which he later can use in more general ways. And so I think he, or student, or graduate of our university, or whatever university, should have a broader scope. And the other important thing is that he or she should be adaptable, or should have such skills which will help him to adapt in a company where he comes. Therefore, in company, the learning curve will be fast, and the student will have broader sense of matters around even the company, not only just a very narrow specialization. And I think this will help to the overall society, because it's not completely good to have just very specialized people looking in their narrow way. It's better to have people looking more around and seeing the consequences around.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Actually, at the university, you have a responsibility, because it goes 3 years to the bachelor, 5 years to the master, 8 years to the PhD. And one PR slogan of our university was, "We are building personalities." And exactly what we try to educate, it's a combination of different skills, and we try to facilitate and induce the interest, because from my own experience, I got a very good basis from the university, but what I am doing now, I studied this in my life. And even in such fields as biotechnology, where in 3 years is not true what was before. You have to learn how to learn, you have to learn how to communicate, you have to learn how to question, and you have to learn how to think critically. And always, as one of the industry representative told in the first introduction, you have always raised the question, is the gain worth the pain? Why you are doing this?
So I would like to add something. Maybe I would like to be focused on bridge between university and praxis. And it is also from my experience point of view that very useful there are workshops. And workshops in small groups focus on really tasks. And during education in universities, in case somebody is really active and there are participate these workshops, they are much more able to solve a really task in praxis. In some universities, it is 60% of evaluation of performance of students' ability to be active during workshops. Not only to know theory, also to show his personality, as you mentioned before, and skills and ability to create something real, useful for normal life. So back to management or business point of view, it is my experience that this activity is very important.
So our company contributes to a higher life expectancy, and I believe that all of us have to undergo a lifelong learning, that it doesn't end with graduation, being a bachelor, master, or PhD. Once you enter professional life, it will be a mix of training and upskilling you receive by your employer. But my daughter is a student now, and I tell her, once you finish your study, probably you're going to be 100 years, even older, and I expect you to go back to an academic education sooner or later, which will maybe allow you even to follow a different career path. It doesn't mean you get stuck in your original study and subject. It can be something different. And to this disconnect we had between us when judging the level of education, what we look for as a company, or me as a manager, is always the mindset of a person. Even if the skills are not as high as we would expect when people come from the university or any other school, we can teach them. It's more about the thinking, the profile of the people, the learning agility. I said lifelong learning. Some are more ready to learn, others are less. I look for those who are ready to learn forever.
Yeah, and if I may add to this perspective, and I think what we have done in our company, we are not concentrating only on universities. We as well going even to the secondary schools and to the elementary schools to start to encourage the pupils, let's say, at that stage, to join the universities and to look at the technical universities, because I think this is something which is now on decline. And I think to answer your original question, I think it's always three-way traffic. It's the students who needs to be interested, it's the companies who needs to contribute, and as well as the universities. And this is something what we are trying to put together in ABB and to go that road.
Okay. Now there's another question, sort of slightly touching this field, what the graduates should look like. Namely, what should the research look like? Should we have basic research, which is not comprehensible to everyone? Maybe some person following the movements of some strange bacteria, and the benefit is not immediately visible to society, or a linguist studying a dead language, and what will come of that? Is that not just very expensive for society? Or should we have very focused applied research that can be turned into a patent, and the patent can be turned into a business outcome, and the business outcome will generate money? So the question goes again, first to the representatives of the education sector, but then also to the business representatives. Well, maybe if you put it a bit provocatively, is basic research a waste of money?
Well, this is a normal question which we have to answer time to time. What we must have is a proportional structure containing all kinds of research. Of course, what comes out of the basic research will be later part of the applied research, will be even a bit more later a part of innovation, but it takes longer time. Without basic research in a state, you are then dependent only on transfer of some results from somewhere else. And you are losing, let's say, the excellence and the ability of your top researchers to be able to grasp the trends where the research in all directions is going. Of course, as we come from the basic through the oriented, through the applied research to the innovations, there are, let's say, also different guarants of this process. The basic research, the oriented and applied, and the oriented research is more on the side of universities and Academy of Science, for example. The more we go towards the applied research and innovation, the more this is a matter which should be more ballpark for companies and or the private sector in general, because of course this is closer to product, closer to return to the society, but not all feedback loops in our society are driven by money. Of course, the knowledge is also very important asset, and that is derived from these first types of research. And we have to run this system of processes together in equilibrium.
Always you can talk about extremely basic research, extremely applied research. And we were thinking how to work with these categories. And when you are bringing knowledge to money, it's called innovation. When you are bringing money to knowledge, it's called research. And therefore, Switzerland has also a problem with these categories. And the Swiss National Foundation founded a new term, application-oriented basic research, because they recognize this gap between the categories. And also what is my own experience, any good applied research becomes later a basic research because it raises more and more complex questions. And then I would say the categories are also cycling based on the problem you would like to solve.
So, in my opinion, both they are very important, and based on basic research, we can follow with focus research really for business utilization. Therefore, back to my company, Sika, we are leader in innovation worldwide. Therefore, there are plenty of technologies out of construction, and we are able to utilize it for construction, and therefore I'm really convinced that this basic research is important for movement all of society.
But it's expensive.
So without the basic research, there is no applied research. That's clear. So basic research is something which is mandatory for university, no discussion. But I think there has to be a really sensitive balance between research and education process at the universities. Seeing now what's happening in Brno, almost every university is building big research center. And when we have a fresh graduates on our interview, or based on my private research, what I have done before this conference, these people, they don't have a verbal exam at the university in Czech Republic. It used to be in the past that every exam has two parts, written and verbal. And then we had at the interview couple PhDs with excellent with excellent support from the university and feedback, but the fact was that these people were not able to sell themselves, to sell what they have done in the past 3 years on their PhD study. And one of the reasons could be that maybe the academic sector is focused too much on the research, on the grants, and I know it's really hard to perform a verbal exam for every student, but this is a key. This is a key for a student to present their knowledges.
So naturally, we are interested in all types of research, including basic research. Novartis is one of the biggest investors globally, amongst the top 10, together with Microsoft, Volkswagen. We put about 20 to 25% of our annual revenue back into research. I believe it could be even more, and it's never a waste. Putting money behind research is not wasting money. You take a certain risk, and sometimes projects fail, but this is the motor of innovation. And we are partnering with 19,000 scientists at the moment to have more findings, new discovery. So for me, it's a positive topic. And there is nothing is wrong about research, including basic research.
If I may follow up and stay with Novartis for a while, is your basic research done mainly in-house, or are you relying on universities doing basic research from where you take what is beneficial to you and you expand on that?
It's both. It's definitely both. We have regular collaboration with the universities. We have in-house labs in several locations on the globe. And as I said, it's sometimes you are lucky, and it depends where you have the new discovery of a molecule. But it's regular partnerships, and I think good partnerships with the universities.
Well, I would say in our company, in ABB, we have a similar situation, again, as in Novartis. Definitely, we cooperate with the universities in some R&D projects, and I think we had been running them very successfully. I can speak now, let's say, mainly for Czech Republic. We have several R&D centers in ABB around the Czech Republic, which are located in Brno, Ostrava. We do have as well in Prague. So we are cooperating with those universities on specific projects where our task force, let's say, or our employees would require some support. So I think from that perspective, the cooperation is very successful.
Okay, I would like at this stage to open up the discussion to the auditorium. If there's a question from your side, or also if you don't want to speak, you can pose a question online. May I ask to bring up the web address on the big screen, also that our online community can see it and pose the question. No questions so far, so I would like to continue sort of moving up the business cycle. We started with the students and the graduates. Now we've covered parts of the research. And Mr. Petracek mentioned the spin-offs very early in his first presentation. Universities generate spin-offs. There are bright minds moving around at universities. Not all of them end up in the big multinational companies. Some of them set up their own small company, and they try to bring their bright and brilliant ideas to market. Where is the role of these small startups, and what is their outlook? How can they be successful? I read a statistic just recently that in Switzerland, the EPLF, the Technical University in Lausanne, part of the ETH, partner of the ETH, They have quite a substantial budget for spin-offs, and they generate a lot of spin-offs, but only 10% make it into the business sphere. So where is the place in the whole system for the small spin-off companies? And how will you preserve their good ideas?
Well, of course, first of all, the question of spin-offs is not the easy one. Of course, as you have mentioned, there is just a certain percentage of them which will make it up to the successful exit. Or what I mean by successful exit is usually a running company, or if they are acquired by some other company, which is of course also a very good result. And even the process of establishing the company is not an easy one under the circumstances which are given by law for the university at the moment. So this is not a process which occurs every day. So we are trying to streamline, to ease the procedures, and we are trying to get more spin-offs running and trying to get through this probabilistic leap across this valley of death, or how to call it, just to be successful. And as I said in the beginning, all matters concerning the commercialization and the support of good ideas and support of spin-offs is evolving field where we are all learning all the time. So there were not very many successful spin-offs at our university up to now, 2 or 3 maybe. But now we have several candidates running in preparation for this, and we have more, let's say, on the horizon. So it's increasing, and the processes which should support this are also being prepared. So we hope for a better future in this. But it's really not an easy field.
If I may stay a moment with you, what you need for a successful spin-off is a good idea, and then you need the money, and then you need the business expertise. The good ideas you would expect to find at the university, but not necessarily the rest. So where do you get the rest?
Well, we have some funds for, let's say, these proof of concept phases, which are more based on funding from the university or from different sources, but this is our system which is running. Then we have pre-seed structures for pre-seed projects for some of the projects which are more evolved, as I said. And then we are trying to get investors for let's say, startups or spin-off companies which are promising. And we have contacts with external investors which may eventually come a part of the company, and they invest there. And this is the way how to proceed. As soon as, let's say, the financial volumes exceed what we can get from the university.
What about the likes of Novartis and ABB? Should they be more receptive to the good ideas that come from your university?
Well, it depends on the contacts. So I don't think we have up to now contacts in this direction, but of course we welcome everybody, every company to discuss. What I would like to say is that we have a system of evaluations of these proof of concept projects and the other projects up to the spin-offs, which is based on the Council for Commercialization, which we have established partly from the managers of the university, and the greater part is from the industry. So, for example, Dr. Pališek is one of the members of this Magister Komárek, and there's some other high-profile managers and entrepreneurs are there. Also, some people from the venture capital side. So we have a body which is really coming from the industry, helping us to understand what is promising, what is not. And we are together with these colleagues from outside, from the industry, we are steering in the most promising way our spin-offs and our projects.
Industry voice.
So I recall a situation where one of the spin-offs approached me a year ago, and this was a group of researchers with several projects and good ideas, and it was a documentation I received, and I passed it on to one of our pharma bosses, and it looks like, and I'm not very experienced in this, that when he was scanning this document, he was looking for specific criteria, which this group did not meet. And as you just said, probably it needs some advisors and consultants how to build that and to be successful, because you don't get a lot of chances, and if the criteria are not met and we have different objectives pursued, it doesn't go together. And I think these people can learn to be more successful, and probably it's just tiny little things, but the relevant ones they miss at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Karin Kovar, how does it look in Switzerland?
Or actually, I don't like to say I know how it looks like in Switzerland, but actually our university, one can say we are in some entrepreneurship fever. There are a lot of initiatives from the economy side, helping the people and so on. But again, maybe the success is also dependent on the country culture, on the economic pressure, because I am repeating myself, again, is the gain worth the pain? Why somebody has to go for a spin-off when she has a good job, a secure job, and why then they have to expose them? And what they actually, it's on explaining to people what is their gain afterwards when they are taking such a risk.
Okay, once again, question to you. If there is anything you would like to know. You will have to wait for a microphone so that also the online community can hear you.
So I have only question only for all panelists, but Mr. Neumaster talked about the problem with verbal skills that they have students. So I have a question, maybe where is the problem? That they are not able to sell themselves. So where is the problem with these students after their degrees? To all panelists, for example. Thank you.
Thank you. I see there are a couple points. First of all, as I already mentioned, is missing verbal exam, missing verbal contact with the professor, with the leader of the seminars. I see missing verbal presentation of the results in laboratory. This is the first part. The second part, companies like we are introducing the process of education too late, meaning we are offering bachelor thesis, we are offering master thesis, and this is good, it's perfect without any discussion, but maybe this is good only for 25% of the students who has already clear picture what they want to do. And this is not enough, this is not really enough for the rest of 75% at the university who didn't decide it so far. This is normal. When the student, people in this age, it's normal not have clear view where they want to go. But if the companies like we will enter the process earlier, maybe in the second year, they will be in the contact with people from industry sector already before they have the possibility to choose bachelor thesis, and they will speak with the people from not from the academic world. This could also help that these people are learning to present themselves verbally. Yeah.
I would like to comment. Actually, this is also on methods and experience. And therefore, we teach our students to make an elevator pitch. That means to say in 2 minutes what you want, to say this creditably, convincing, and get just to the point. And I don't feel that the experience on the Czech universities is so strange that the professor don't talk to the students, that the students don't present. Because what we did, we make our university a commitment to the University of Chemical Technology, and the directors just committed to develop an industrial doctorate together, just to solve this or make a paradigm on a doctorate which is still practical.
So if I may add 1 or 2 comments. I think if you would come to the students in the second year, so your let's say tries to get them will have a lower efficiency, because some of them will fail on the basic subjects which are taught during the second year. Of course, it will help a little bit, so you will attract someone, but on top of that, these people can still fall out before they come to the stage that they are able to work at least on this bachelor thesis. So the efficiency of this process is lower. Concerning the oral exams and contact between the professors and students, I don't know what university exactly you mean, but this is standard that students and professors are in contact, especially the PhDs. So I don't know, this is not the case of our university.
Well, I'm not criticizing, I'm not from the academic world, I see only the results. And as I spoke before this conference, these students, they don't have a verbal exams. I'm not saying that the verbal exams is a solution. I'm just thinking loudly. This could help. And I finished my first university maybe 100 years ago, and it was mandatory to have a verbal exam, half part. When I finished the second university, which I was quite fond of this university, and this was really perfect education, but we didn't have the verbal exam, and I was missing it. But fortunately, I was in close contact with the professors and also working partially on some other projects, so I didn't feel it, but I could see on my colleagues, and I know that the situation is like this. So, but again, don't take me wrong. I'm not saying this verbal exams is a solution. It's something which could help to improve. That the guys are not afraid to talk about what they are doing. They are not afraid to go to professor and speak to the capacity or to the authority at the university.
Of course, we can also turn the question around and ask the recruiting people, shouldn't you recognize a raw diamond when you see one, without the raw diamond articulating itself?
Well, definitely that's why you have an HR department, so to discover these. But to answer that question, I think it's not only about the education. I think it starts with us at home. How do we encourage our kids to speak at home? So I think this is the whole concept. It's not only about the universities teaching the students to present themselves and to be independent and self-confident. I think it goes throughout the whole chain of education and the way how we educate our kids at the elementary schools and secondary schools. And I hope that this is changing a little bit so that the future will be brighter.
So I would like to add to this nice question my experience, because it was mentioned, it is verbal contact. It means communication. And communication is also ability to listen. So I am a mentor of some students, and it is excellent experience for me, and I have plenty of ideas from contact from students, and they have also nice ideas from discussion about some topics with me. Therefore, in my opinion, it is a question for both sides, not only for students, also from professors or managers, to communicate in a right way and to be able to listen each other.
Okay, if we may stay with you, Mr. Bilek, for a while, there is an online question come in from Tomasz Meislik, and he asks SICA specifically, do you intend to submit a project in the program H 2020? If yes, in which field?
So, I was not so now concentrate on your question. Sorry, once more.
A question specifically for SICA, POZITIV.CZ. Do you intend to submit a project in the program H 2020? And if yes, in which field?
Yes, it is also important topic for our company, because I have to say that we are part of worldwide big experience company, which is leader not only in innovation, also in environmental point of view, and we are founder of World Sustainable Committee, and in Czech Republic we continue with this style of working also in our company. Therefore, 2020, it is based on our focus on social, on our economic results, yes, of course, and also for healthy. So I don't know if it is time for explain all important consequences, but we try also to be as a real case of such a, it is not new style, it is necessity and important development for all of countries, in my point of view. Not countries, companies, sorry.
Or actually in the Horizon 2020 there are two types of projects. There are projects which are on topic, on technical, on science, and there are projects which are topic independent. These Marie Curie actions, and maybe this is exactly what you are looking for the collaboration between industry and academia, because there is an open call, deadline 28th of April on RISE, and it's exactly the cross sectors collaboration between industry and academia, where there are fellowships to stay in industry and fellowships for industry to stay at the university. And these calls are repeating each year. Therefore, you can also get experience when you are applying several times with the same topic.
Yes, question from the auditorium.
My name is Adam Blažek. I'm from Technical University at Liberec, from Department of Industry Relations. And Mr. Petáček was talking about spin-off companies and about the system they have at the university. We have similar system, so it means we have some pre-seed projects, a Gamma project, which is similar, and we have quite a lot of research results or topics which are, I think, ready to go to the market. And one way is to have a spin-off at university. We can find investor, and there is a will from our researchers to go to this form of commercialization. But the one important thing is the support from the management of university, which is a little bit problem at Liberec. So I'd like to ask my colleagues from universities how it is at your university. What's the support of the management of university? Is there any like financial funds, or do you hire some promises to the candidates for spin-off companies, or how you support these researchers? Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, the best will be if I can send you a link on the entrepreneurship program. And in Switzerland, there is a similar institution as in Czech Republic. It's called Commission for Technology and Innovation. It's an equivalent of the Czech Dutcher, but the difference is it's very flexible. You can submit a project each month. There are not thematic projects. There are some rules, but you can actually submit any project. From there, you get the first money to develop a company, or there are a lot of also umbrella programs which connect you to business angels and so on and so on. And for me personally, it's always the decision, would you like to own your company or would you like to have an investor?
Can I react? I understand that I can just found my own company if I'm at university. It means I can find investor. I can just do it in some garage or wherever. But it's not a spin-off. I mean, spin-off means the university has to be a part of this company. So university has to support it somehow.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
Yeah.
You have all this business area. We have a spin-off area, and there are lower rents for rooms. Then you have a lot of challenges, or where you can win money or such things. And in some way, even the university, of course, the university, because I am employee of the university, owns my patent, but they are prepared to give you the rights when you build a company. And this is, again, on communication and on the commitment that the university wants spin-offs. And this actually spin-off area, it's a foundation of the town, of the university, and of some private persons.
Okay, and on our side of the Czech Technical University, we from the side of management are strongly supporting such activities, as it is obvious from what I said already. I think the first support is the very existence of this system, which should really work much more smoothly than it used to be. We are trying to help people to get easily through these quite difficult processes. Of course, we, to some extent, can support them in a financial manner during these preparatory phases of the spin-offs. We can support them by the intellectual property of the university, which is available, of course, at much better, under better conditions to those coming from inside the university and building the spin-off than compared to standard licensing, for example. We are supporting them by lawyers, by support. They have much stronger, I think, grounds for preparation of their company compared to the situation when they would run it alone just outside of the university. So these are the main steps which we are trying to to do, and we hope that the financial means of support will increase year by year as we get even some private sector into our funding of these kind of activities. For example, these pre-seeds and then proof of concepts projects.
Thank you. This brings our discussion to an end since we're running out of time. If questions remain, you can ask them, all the panelists, at the ensuing lunch. And so I would like to join me in thanking the panelists for their contributions. And I would like to hand over to Marek Procházka for the closing remarks.
Dear panelists, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending this Swiss Management Forum, which is not yet at its end, because I can invite you to the lunch, which will be next door. This does not apply to the people who are seeing us online. I think that we have gained some insight about also about the difficulties, how companies work on different levels with students and with institutions, how not easy sometimes to resolve, and how also the aspects are different and viewpoints are different about profits from these initiatives. So it looks like this is a very creative field that needs to be followed, and we will also be following this as well in our events. I will thank you very much for your participation. I also thank mostly our main partner, the company Sika, and also the companies ABB, Alpic, and Siemens, for their participation, without which this would not have been possible, including the support of the Czech Management Association, Jura, Novartis, Penshop, and Positive. So thank you very much. And again, bon appétit next door. Thank you.